Well, there you go. We've given our thoughts. We'll move on. It's time, Norman, Chad, for calling the clock. Let's bring up the board. Let's set a timer. Got our 8 brand new topics. We'll go ahead and start right now. Hoodie Allen just leaves. What the hell? What a rapper thing to do.
What a rapper thing to do.
Yeah.
But I respect the decision.
I mean, of course. It's just insane. It's incredible. It's something we're not used to.
No, you play the World Series on day 2. You decide, oh, that's right, I have a wedding to go to tomorrow where I'm a groomsman. So you leave your chips, you get blinded down a bunch, you go to the wedding, and then you come back with your chips blinded down for day 3.
I mean, you got, we don't, unfortunately, Hoodie Allen, someone we didn't have the opportunity to approach and ask him, like, why did you choose this starting date? To hear, because I'm sure he had plans, right? He probably played a certain day 1 for a reason, knowing day 2, knowing the wedding. If the situation happens, I can still make it. But to get to that point where he has enough chips to say, all right, I gotta get to my jet, gotta fly out here. And it all worked out, unfortunately.
Well, it kind of worked out. And by the way, I respect his decision. He did it for a friend. I might not have abandoned my main event chips for a wedding. Marriage is a 50-50 proposition. It's a coin flip. So I would have stuck with my stack. But then he got burned because he came back. He's coming back Sunday morning. He had a flight that he saw was going to be delayed 3.5 hours. So he wasn't going to make it. So he switched to another flight. He gets there in time. And then on the 4th hand of the day, what happens to him?
Yeah, he goes back to the wedding, I guess, basically. He's gone. He's dusted.
Gets pocket aces and loses and is gone. Yeah. So he actually would have done better to be on the delayed flight. That hand never happens.
Yeah.
And then he still might be here today.
I mean, you just got to go with what you got to go with what's in front of you. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But you did bring up a good point. He could have played he could have played an earlier day 2. So he didn't have to worry about leaving his chips. And then that wouldn't have been an issue. He still could have gone to the wedding.
Yeah, it is what it is.
No, I'll tell you what it is. I think it's
Phil Hellmuth gets coolered out by Nicholas Rigby. He didn't do it with a dirty diaper. My God, it was dirty. It was dirty.
It was dirty, but it was Phil let himself be dirtied. I was surprised that this happened to Phil Hellmuth.
You were surprised?
Yeah, I'll tell you why I was surprised. Phil Hellmuth, he famously on day 1 will not put like more than half of his stack at risk in any hand because you have so many blinds. There's no reason those day 1 chips aren't that valuable. You want to survive. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so on day 2, he started that hand with 80 big blinds. Jesse.
Yeah.
So that he, I understand the road he went down with the 10-9 suited and he paired the 10 on the flop, but to put those 80 big blinds all to work in that situation is very un-Phil Hellmuth-like on day 2 of the main event.
So to remind you what happened here, we got Hellmuth starting with 9-10 of clubs, Nick Rigby with the ace-10 of spades, and the flop comes 9-10 ace. They both flop 2-pair. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, I mean, the pot did get inflated. Rigby was definitely putting some chips at work. He was not making this a small pot for Hellmuth. And Hellmuth was in a situation with the deuce of hearts on the turn. I mean, come on. It just was cooler central.
It's setting up for the cooler.
Right. And what's also great is Hellmuth didn't blow up or anything when he saw it. It's like, yep, that's how it's unfortunate.
That's one he couldn't blow up over.
Yeah, no joke.
And I understand he trusted his read on Rigby, but I can't believe he would risk such a huge stack on day 2 on that read. And what he might want to think about, to tell you the truth, is, I have an old rule, or there's an old rule, the larger the wedding, the shorter the marriage. Maybe the larger the grand entrance, the shorter your time in the main event.
That's possible. Spicy. God. I mean, it's unfortunate, but Hellmuth will be back in. I hope he still wins his 18th bracelet. I mean, there's a chance
he's not really done well in the main event. And let me tell you something else about Phil
Hellmuth.
Hellmuth.
To the table. Gary Blackwood on Twitter, Gazzy B1233 shared something that we were very shocked by. You heard about this, obviously. This is big news. Are you offended I interrupted you?
No, not at all.
I mean, stop talking when the buzzer's about to run out, okay?
Not at all.
You know the rules. Don't be surprised.
Just go ahead.
Here we go. Gary Blackwood found out that someone at a table making day 4 wrote a letter saying, please. It says, I've traveled all the way from China to participate in this prestigious WSOP tournament, and make it into the money circle means everything to me. Not only would a successful WSOP performance greatly boost my chances of getting into an American university, but the prize money would be used to fulfill a dream honeymoon with my beloved girlfriend. Not fiance, girlfriend. There's a lot of red flags here, Norman. I come to you with a heartfelt plea. I kindly ask for your support in a single request. Please refrain from raising during my very first big blind. It would mean the world if you grant. My goodness.
Well,
my goodness. And we don't know what happened. We don't get to see if this actually took place, but we know this letter was out there, and it's kind of crazy that someone would make
it's crazy, but I give the guy credit for the effort, the moxie, the creativity.
Yeah.
Now, as it turned out, they came around, the small blind shoved on him, but he did end up making the guy did end up making the money.
Yeah.
So again, it's against the rules. It's collusion.
Right, of course.
But it does remind me about 7 or 8 years ago, I was on the bubble at a World Series event. Ellie Lezer was at my table, and he asked everybody at the table to let Norman don't raise his big blind.
Really?
And they did not. And I told Ellie, that's a great thought, but you can't do that. And I actually ended up stone cold bubbling that tournament, the only one I've ever stone cold bubbled. And Ellie then asked Jack Effel, let Norman cash. It's good for poker. Let the bubble cash. And Jack turned that down. So it's a great thought. No. And of course, it's collusion technically, but at least the guy made the effort.
I mean, crazy. The fact that you can have these printed as well. It's wild. Father-daughter. No, where are we at? We're at the WSOP bubble. Okay, the bubble has burst. I jumped ahead.
The bubble now has burst.
The bubble has burst, and man alive, it was spicy. This always happens. I was out there with my camera trying to find the right table. Man, it's not fun running through a giant room from the one wall to the wall, back and forth. I filmed at least 3 tables where the all-in doubled. It's like, okay, here we go, another one. But the bubble did burst. It was what was the guy's name? It was Jeppe Bisgaard, who ended up being our official bubble boy of the 2023 WSOP Main Event. There were 3 who were all knocked out at the same time. That was oh good lord, I'm gonna butcher these. Yu Ki Wang, Peter Nye, and Jeppe. And of course, being that there was 1 bubble and 2 payouts, they chopped it up. Each player took home $10K. And then they did a flip, 3-handed flip to see who gets the seat. Jeppe Bisgaard now actually made more than the min cash. He got a 10K in his pocket and a 10K seat.
Well, he's fortunate that way. He should never have been playing the Kings in that spot if you played the Kings in that spot.
That was insane. It was wild because he had a big stack too. Yeah. Right? I was standing at one table where the big blind was forced in. He was able to pull. He was able to make it through, and so to see Jeppe go in there with that big stack out, in late position and get called by aces. He had like what it looked like. I think at least 300 or 400K.
So I can see where you can do hay with that, but you don't want to put yourself at risk. Now, if you have a shorter stack, we had one person who folded pocket aces with a very. I understand that completely.
That was wild. Yeah.
But you doubling that stack isn't going to increase your EV all that much. So if you got a small stack, you got kings or aces. First of all, if it was me, because I want to cash, I'm not going to look at my hands, or I'm even going to walk away from the table.
Right.
In fact, I have a diamond card. I might walk away from the table, use the diamond card to get a free Pepsi, and then I get with my points, then I get the Pepsi and the 15K
okay, let's
locked
move
in.
on. Father-daughter, make the cash. Father-daughter, make the money. I think we may have let you go a little longer there. Father-daughter make the money in the main event. I love this. This is so sweet, so wholesome. I don't know if it's your cup of tea. I don't know if you're the wholesome man here.
I'm more wholesome than I look. I like a good father-daughter story.
Okay, there you go. And it was people who are definitely very friendly and familiar in the poker community. Amanda Botfeld and her father David, who were tag team partners. I think it was in the 2021.
Yes,
tag team. Yeah, they made the final table.
They finished third.
Yeah, it was sick. It was really sick. And then Amanda blew my mind last winter with all her WPT giveaways that she did. She is an employee WPT, so she could not win a seat that she could play in the December World Champion, but she gave away all these seats in really creative, fun ways. And for me, I just love seeing what she did. It was such a positive influence. And so another great story with Amanda doesn't shock me. I'm very happy to see this, that she and her dad both not only cashed, but I think at least at the start of today, we're both still in.
The father busted. Amanda is still in as of day 5.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how heartwarming it was to me. They now make my top 5 father-daughter combinations of all time. Number 1 is Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda. Number 2, John Voight and Angelina Jolie. Number 3, Ryan and Tatum O'Neal. Number 4, Atticus Finch and Scout. Do you know Atticus Finch and Scout?
Yes.
Yeah. And number 5, David and Amanda.
Where am I on that list with my kids? I have 2 daughters.
Because you're their father, you're not going to make that list. Your daughters are great. I don't know about you. By the way, we sometimes forget that the late Doral Brunson had a daughter who played. And actually in 06 main event, Pam Brunson and Todd Brunson both cashed, brother and sister of sick. Doyle in 06.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. We do forget.
Let me tell you something else I want to say, if you allow me to.
WSOP champs make day 5. Unfortunately, they're already out. The start of the day, we saw Moneymaker and Joe Hashem as our final 2 WSOP main event winners, still in contention for the 2023 main event world championship bracelet. But they're both gone. Gonzo. Moneymaker started the day with 435K. And, we know why, right? Do you know why Moneymaker's out?
Because he ran out of chips?
No, it's the Jeff Platt curse.
Oh, the Jeff Platt curse.
Yeah.
I know about the Jeff Platt curse.
It's real. It's very real this summer. Yeah. Whoever talks to Jeff Platt, if you stand up, you are knocked out. Just get ready.
I have a worse Jeff Platt curse than that. I mean, it's one thing to be knocked out of a tournament. It's another thing to be knocked out of an industry. So that's a really bad Jeff Platt curse. But you got it. I both Chris and Joe making day 5 is great.
Beautiful story. Love it. And this is Moneymaker's multiple. He's made deep runs the last few years.
So they both actually have had different histories since they won. When Moneymaker won in 03, he did not cash again until 2019. And now he's cashed 4 straight years, not including the hybrid online small field. Hashem, on the other hand, after he cashed in 05, he had a deep run in 06.
Yeah.
And then he cashed again in 09 and 2015. And then, of course, this year. So they both have had 4 cashes since they won. But with Hashem, they've been spread out the whole time. Moneymaker had to wait a long time before he cashed again.
And Moneymaker, of course, and they both just have 1 bracelet, both Hashem and Moneymaker.
Yes, they do. And actually, Joe plays a lot. Moneymaker doesn't play a lot here. And Joe actually has turned into a great mixed game player. Most of his cashes of the World Series the last 10 or 15 years are in Horse, Omaha 8, PLO, Stud 8. So he's evolved into a complete player, and it's a pleasure to see.
That's great. There you go. So, Moneymaker, what I heard from him is that he really wanted to win a bracelet this year. And unfortunately, he only played the championship and the main event. I think
he played a couple of events, and he's going back to Tennessee now. And
Chance Kornuth is very upset. Chance Kornuth, you heard about this. Going to dinner break, he's in a hand and gets called clock. Called clock after only 2 minutes, I think it was. And then with dinner break approaching,
they ran a dinner break. Right, rest of the table had left.
Yeah,
and a third player, not the player he's playing against, but a third player called the clock on him.
Yeah,
which I got to tell you, is very small in a dinner break. I don't care if he had tanked for 30 seconds or 30 minutes. It's in the dinner break. It's very small. It's very unnecessary, but the clock can be used to tilt. And in this case, we saw that player tilt Chance Kornuth at that moment.
Yeah. To read the recap real quick, it was Masato Yokosawa was in the hand with Chance. Let's see. It was a 3-bet to 90K. Action back to Yokosawa, who called ace of hearts, 9 of spades, deuce of spades. Yokosawa checked to Kornuth, who continued to bet a 60K. Boom, check raise, call, turn of 6 of spades. Yokosawa let out. Kornuth called 7 of hearts, complete the board. Yokosawa announced a bet and put Kornuth in the tank. And with the rest of the field going to dinner, Benitez opted to call the clock after just 2 minutes. And my God, man, Chance says, "You're calling the clock on me when it's dinner break? You're just mad because I owned you in a hand."
Now, and Chance said a couple other things that were a little worse than that. So Chance could have handled it better.
Yeah.
But we all have our breaking point. And even, this sounds ridiculous, but I once left my own home game because I got mad at what happened at the table. And I walked out of my condo and I go, where am I going? I live here. What am I going to do? But they got me so mad at my own home game, I walked away from the table and I was really pissed and did not return to the game for 2 hours. So I understand that Chance kind of lost his cool there for a moment.
True story. And it's very unfortunate because, we've always seen Chance as like a happy guy. I was looking for a picture of him angry to try to use for this. Well, couldn't find one. He's always happy.
We all have multiple personalities. In fact, that reminds me of back in the early 1970s, I think.
Scheinberg has been honored with the biggest honor from WPT Honors. Love it.
That's the biggest honor you can have. If it's called WPT Honors, they honor you. How high can you get other than the WPT Honors?
The highest honor. Love it. Yeah, over there at the, I think it was over at the Wynn that the WPT held a special ceremony, their honors award ceremonies, and Isai Scheinberg was one of these included in this, and the way that they brought him up was so beautiful. And you've got Adam Pliska who asked, if please stand up if if Eastside Scheinberg has made a positive influence on your career in poker or on you in poker, and 90% of the room immediately stood up and just started clapping. Like, love to see this, man. I mean, we got to get him in the Hall of Fame as soon as possible. Got to get you in the Hall of Fame as well.
Well, I think I am a minority of one on the Ishii Scheinberg story. By the way, so him and both Vince Van Patten got into the WPT honors, both well-deserving. Yeah. Vince has had a great career at the WPT. I just wish he hadn't made 7 Days to Vegas, but that's a movie that shouldn't influence anything. So obviously Ishii has Scheinberg's influence on online poker and on the poker industry in general is unmatched. Yeah. And he will make the Hall of Fame one day. However, this is my take that I've always had, and people don't like it. When the U.S. changed those laws in 2008, it was a bad law, but it was the law. Many online operators, most significantly Party Poker, stopped serving the U.S. market. Scheinberg and PokerStars continued circumventing U.S. law. Okay, so they benefited from the good actors leaving. Now, I just have trouble with a businessman who essentially lined his pockets with poker gold while circumventing the law. So I understand that he then treated everybody. He cooperated with the U.S. government. He paid everybody off from PokerStars and Full Tilt and bought it and took in their people. But that was all good business decision.
We have to end it. I mean, I want to keep hearing you talk about this, but unfortunately, there are rules to this, and now you have to shut up. That's just the way this whole thing is built.
Go ahead.
They're calling the clock. Like Chance, we have to call the clock on you.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. This has been Calling the Clock. We got to pause real quick and thank our sponsors, Global Poker. If you haven't checked it out, it's a fantastic site to play on here. And if it's your first time checking it out, PokerNews has a special code. Use code PokerNews for a special gift from the Chad or the Norman, Chad and Jesse show. Check it out, globalpoker.com. Norman, we have a special guest. Norman, it's okay. Hey.
Well, I don't understand why we couldn't extend the segment a little longer. There's no advertisers. It's online. We could go on for 2 hours if we wanted to.